Good afternoon. I'm Alexandra Lautenschlager, registered dietitian with the Heart Wellness Center, and I'm here this afternoon with Carrie Stewart and Dawn Maddox from the Heart Resource Center as we continue our day of colorful cooking. I'm here to show you a balsamic berry vinaigrette winter salad. We always think winter is more associated with soups and hearty meals, but a salad on the side is always an easy thing to do, and it can be healthy, and it doesn't have to be very expensive. So I'm here to show you some things that are beneficial to your heart, um, for your blood sugars, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, all the good things. And the first thing I'm going to start with is by washing my hands, and then we'll get started. So what I liked about this recipe specifically were the different ingredients that were included, which include balsamic vinegar, fat-free Greek yogurt, sugar-free strawberry preserves, and in this case, this only has 4 ingredients, which are strawberries, sugar, concentrated lemon juice, and pectin, olive oil, mustard, garlic, salt and pepper, 3 cups of fresh baby spinach and romaine, which you can also use arugula, kale, radicchio, escarole, and it also has a gala apple, crumbled feta cheese, which you can also use blue cheese, or actually, we have goat cheese, but you can use feta cheese or blue cheese. And most of all, something I haven't used before is pomegranate seeds. And I have this wonderfully super large pomegranate, so we're actually probably going to use half of it, but I'm very excited to use this. And last but not least, some chopped walnuts. And we'll talk about why all these things, which sound a little unusual to go together, but go very well together. So the first thing I'm actually going to do, I've measured out just about all the ingredients and I will talk about them as I put them into a bowl. But the first thing that I want to talk about is the garlic clove. We have 1 clove, which I now have thrown across the cutting board. But we have 1 clove, and if any of you have been following along this series with Carrie for quite some time, we're going to talk about how to actually cut and peel this garlic clove. So I'm a little shorter than the other 2 ladies, so I'm going to have to pull this a little closer. But to make sure everything is safe and doesn't roll anywhere, I am going to put my body weight onto the garlic clove to make sure that this peel comes off. And I don't know if you heard that, but it really crunched over here. So you just take the peel like such, and there you go. There is your clove, which mine kind of already fell apart a little bit. And there is no pretty way to cut this garlic clove, so I'm just going to go with my little fingers in a bear claw movement and start cutting this garlic clove. And as you know, garlic is very much great for your heart. Here I go. And as Carrie had mentioned earlier, the more we cook with it, the more we get immune to it. And I think the more we add to it, or add it to other dishes. But I really do enjoy adding garlic to all my dishes. And there you go. Just chop away. And using the other side of the knife, I kind of gather it back together and just continued the cooking. I mean, the chopping. So what I'm going to do now is gather it together and go ahead and put it in my bowl for the vinaigrette. Now, one of the reasons we turn the knife upside down, of course, is to make sure that we don't use the sharp side, not only to not hurt ourselves, but not to dull the knife as well. Okay. I'm going to put the knife as such. The next thing we're going to add is the vinegar, which is 1/4 of a cup. Whoops, almost went the wrong way. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of non-fat yogurt. It doesn't matter, or I use the Greek yogurt, Greek plain non-fat. Doesn't matter where you buy this, but I do enjoy buying this at some of the lower priced grocery stores because I do use this quite a bit. And Greek yogurt is something that you can definitely use and substitute in other recipes. So if it calls for mayonnaise or if it calls for sour cream, things like that, you can absolutely substitute it out. Next thing we're going to add is the mustard. I am going to scoop out with my whisk. Now, I found that mustard was quite an interesting ingredient to add to this, but it does balance out quite a bit. What type of mustard? Well, in my case, I had to use what we had because I forgot to include the actual mustard for which it called. You can use Dijon mustard, you can use spicy mustard. I think what it does, it helps to balance the flavor of the balsamic some. Then we're going to add, hold on, the salt, then the pepper, and the oil. And last but not least, the strawberry preserves. And unfortunately, you cannot smell it like I did when I made it yesterday, but it's quite a, now you can smell it. The balsamic, Carrie said she can smell it to halfway through the room. The balsamic and the yogurt and the strawberry tends to give us this unique, sweet but savory flavor. And if you can tell as you whisk it, it does get smoother, but you can tell it is a balsamic-based vinaigrette. So I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm actually going to wash my hands again because we're going to tackle the apple and the pomegranate. So one of the things that I was looking at with the pomegranate, which this thing is rather large, so I'm going to have to put my weight into this and just cut it in half. Here we go. Oh, this is not so hard. Wow. Well, look at that. Can you see it? So I'm going to cut this into quarters and then we're going to soak it in water, and then the seeds, which is what we want, is going to come out much more easier. Of course, I made a slight little mess over here, but that's okay. Flip it over so you have a flat surface. And then I'm going to bring it over, but let it soak for a little bit. Oh, wow. And then I'm going to actually wipe it off. Actually, I'm going to get a paper towel because I have a feeling this is going to get. It's called wearing dye by the end of all this cooking. I'm going to let this soak for a bit and go ahead and cut up the apple. I was talking to Miss Carrie about how to cut this apple. She said, any way you want, because I really wanted a mandolin. And for those of you that don't know the old term of mandolin, it is the slicer where you can pick the thickness and just slide it across. I guess I should move this out of the way so you guys can see how I'm really doing this, which is not very pretty. But I am going to slice this as thin as I can, man overboard, of course, using my fingers as the bear claw so I don't cut myself. And here we have the lettuce, which is in this case baby spinach and romaine lettuce, which you don't have to just use romaine and spinach. I think we already said you can use arugula, kale, but any of the ones that you want. Actually, I think I do have a spring mix in here, but any of those will do because what I like about them is they actually really take on the flavor of the vinaigrette. So you can also use blueberries, strawberries, or any other berries instead of the pomegranate if you like, because they all go with the balsamic vinaigrette and offset that flavor of it. In this case, we're also using a gala apple. You can use I think you can use just about any apple in that sweetness. But I think any apple will do. And the reasons apples are good, aside that they're just a fruit, the skin of the apple is what provides the fiber. So, and fiber is good for digestion and helping lower LDL cholesterol, as well as optimizing your blood sugars. So finally, we're going to get these seeds out from here. And as you can tell, they're coming out quite well. They just pop out and they will sink to the bottom. So pomegranate is actually, I have my notes over here. So I'm going to actually kind of move this way so I can read them. Pomegranate is good for decreasing anti-inflammatory, slow cancer growth, fight infection, and improve brain function. I don't know if any of you guys knew that about the brain. I think walnuts, we already said, with filled with omega-3 fatty acids, which chia seeds, ground flax seeds all fall into that category of plant omega-3 fatty acids, which has been proven to be equally as good as their fish counterpart for the heart. Because I know there are several people that just do not like fish, and I get that, especially when I talk to my patients. Spinach and romaine are also rich in vitamins A, C, and E, folate, and potassium. Goat cheese, which is a provider of protein, calcium, and healthy fat, specifically capric acid, which is beneficial, a medium chain fatty acid, which we don't usually talk about those types of names, but it's antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. So as you can tell, there's a lot of good things over here. And I didn't realize, I'm going to bring this bowl back so you guys can see. This is how far I've gotten, and there's still a lot of seeds in this pomegranate. Can you see that? Yeah. That's a lot of seeds still, so. And I'm just scraping away with my fingers. And if you caught the earlier colorful cooking with the energy balls, this can get really messy and hands-on. So I think we're pretty much, oh wow, this is really just coming out. So what I'm actually going to do, as these seeds just, wow, look at that. Any questions right now, Dawn? Woo! I think I'm wearing this everywhere. No. Okay. What I'm actually going to do is get the white stuff out as much as I can without losing. But the seeds are all now at the bottom. What I'm going to do, I hate to toss these, but I'm actually going to drizzle a handful over this. You can get frozen or just the regular seeds, but one thing I found, it's way cheaper to get the pomegranate itself. And as I was looking at this recipe, I actually calculated out all the ingredients because this recipe makes 8 servings, and it came down to $1.75 per serving for this salad. So you really can't go wrong in any of these. Just got a few more. All right, I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to add the goat cheese and the vinegar. There is no wrong way to add any of these ingredients, because at the end of the day, you are making this your salad. And this is not a Top Chef competition, so we don't really care how you plate it. So I'm going to go ahead and get a bowl. I'm going to kind of toss this a little bit. And this will make a perfect side, I think, to any dish. Actually, I'll put that back. And then I'm going to drizzle a little bit. You do need to keep stirring this because it does tend to stick together, but go ahead and add a little bit of dressing. And there you have your mixed balsamic berry winter mix salad. And I just realized I forgot to get a fork, which I'm just going to kind of mix this. Now, I'm going to be the first person to tell you I'm a very traditional salad person. So for me to add fruit is new as to me. So this is really good. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if it's the goat cheese as well, but it has every pop, a little kick with the balsamic. I forgot the walnuts, didn't I? That's how you improvise on shows like this. But I think with the sweetness of the pomegranate and the apple, and then the heartiness of the walnut, the balsamic, I have to say this does smell different than the one I did last night with the spicy mustard, but this is very good. And it's very fresh and crispy. So I hope you guys enjoy this. As you can tell, it didn't take a lot of time. Sorry, my mouth's still full, but I hope you enjoy it and the rest of our colorful cooking at home. Any more? Oh, any more questions? Ah, good question. Um, One thing the recipe does ask for is to roast the walnuts, which I, of course, looked up because for my first instinct is to drop some oil into the pan. And I read probably 3 different recipes to roast the walnuts. None of them called for oil. Put it on some medium high heat and put your walnuts on it. And believe me, I was stirring, I was smelling, I was looking like a science experiment to make sure nothing was burning, but it does bring out that roastiness. I did break down the walnuts a little bit more because they were pretty large pieces, but you roast it for not even quite a minute. Let it cool down, set it aside, and it's ready to go on your salad. So I really do hope you enjoy this. And this was my first time making this, which is one of the things I love about the colorful cooking at home. A lot of times this is very new to me. So I really enjoyed this and I hope you do too. And thanks again for joining us for colorful cooking at home.